Okay, we're almost live on the air. Welcome to our YouTube viewers.
We have YouTube viewers?
Yep.
Where's the camera?
Our last podcast did very well on YouTube.
Which way is the camera facing?
No,
Camera's facing.
Oh, facing this way. Okay,
Yeah.
I wore black because it's thinning, so let's see if that works or
There's
not.
not enough black in the world for me to wear to be thin. Hi, don't adjust your TV. It's me being this big.
I mean, when your chair
Camera
collapses, that doesn't matter
Well,
what.
I know. I got like a broken chair, ratchet studio, and I got to see what they're
Okay,
going to be
sound
doing
check.
over.
Sound check, Jim. Sound check. All right.
Let's see where we are here. Are we good here?
Yeah.
We're good.
Hello, sound check?
Yep, perfect.
Good.
Now, Tom, we're syndicated on 2 FCC radio stations. We
Not
got
bad.
Thank you. No, for telling
we got to
me
keep
because
it clean.
Okay.
Yeah, because our 2 syndicated networks are FCC.
All right, so I guess I do 2 segments. So good.
Yeah, trust me, we had a guy on here that didn't like that, but we have to keep it
No, all good.
G-rated.
That was me.
Yeah, because our 2 syndication stations are regular radio stations or FCC. So I appreciate it. Here we go. Welcome, everyone, to the greatest podcast in the history of our great sport. My name is Kevin Wilson.
J. Cole.
Jim Hassan?
Tom Barra, Philly Blind Pig.
That's right. We have an exciting show.
Well, I'll tell you, before we get started with the show, I got a problem with the announcer.
Right.
He's promising we're going to give people recipes and tips.
We are.
Slow down. That's too much like work. If I wanted that, I would have went to work, dude.
That's why Tom's here.
Oh, good. Tom's doing a lifting. Okay. I'll go back to eating and drinking.
I just want to say hello to our friends in Hudson Valley, New York. It's Monday at 1 p.m. for you guys. Today, to catch people in the first minute, all barbecue. The entire hour will be giving you great information about Philly Blind Pig Barbecue.
The 3 greatest letters in the history of the culinary world.
That's right.
B-B-U.
And we are going to focus on nothing but barbecue for this entire hour. Tom Barra is our special guest, award-winning barbecue master. This guy has a resume like you would not believe. He has an event coming up. Tom, tell us about you, the awards you've won, and the event you have coming.
Tom, tell us how much better you are than everybody else. That's exactly how that
I'm
sounded.
the best. Yeah, you put me on the spot because I'm usually not the type of guy that's going to talk about
Well,
myself.
talk about
I
cut a
don't really
promo. It'll be
do that. I mean, when it comes to the awards, but I've won many awards on the KCBS circuit. Been competing since 2006. I think was the first time I went out on KCBS, and unlike some of these other teams, I don't have a ton of grand championships, but I do have one that sent me out to the American Royal back in 2013 into the Jack Daniels Invitational in Tennessee. So that was a lot of fun, and was lucky enough to go to the World Food Championships that year as well as one of the teams selected. But the awards come here and there still. I mean, I've been kind of down on my luck the last a little bit of time, but still hanging in there.
And tell everybody about your incredible website. If you're a barbecue lover, Tom has you covered on his website. He gives you incredible recipes along with great barbecue information. Tell the folks your website.
The website is phillyblindpig.com. And we try to keep it updated. We have a bunch of recipes on there and tons of pictures, a lot of humorous stuff going on. So please look through it and check out the pictures. And we're going to be revamping that very soon and getting some of our catering things up on there and things of that nature. So that's going to be rebuilt very soon.
Yeah, let's not be giving out like the secret recipes and stuff, man.
Well, I have no problem with sharing any recipe I've ever done. Even if it's wrong, I'll tell you, because I make the mistakes and then I want to, tell people what I've done wrong even. I've been ridiculed for giving out competition recipes and competition timings and what I use for smoking, but if somebody else wants to try and do it, go ahead. Maybe they'll do it better. Maybe they won't do it better. But I don't see any problem with that.
I think we
you know?
both know. We talked about this in the parking lot. They're not going to do it better.
I think by the end of the show, we want people to throw away their grills.
Just call Tom. Just stop.
Just call Tom.
Don't
Hey, that works.
cosplay. Don't pretend that ridiculous $9,000 green egg you bought. Sell that on eBay for about $50 because you know you're misusing it anyway.
Right, and I want to say hello to our friends. We are not just a local show; we are a national show. We have regular listeners in Anchorage, Alaska,
Nice.
Missouri,
Mom?
pretty much California. San Francisco listens every week. So I just wanted to help them. I want you to just talk about the best way to get a hold of you as far as recipes. If you have questions, what email address do you use?
Just give his number to him.
Well, there's on the website. Please use that website at phillyblindpig.com, and there's a contact page there
Nice.
that will link because my email changes now and again, and we try to keep it
Yeah,
updated
sure.
on there, so that's the most accurate. But I'll tell you, social media. So any of the social media, especially Facebook and Instagram, we are on there. Philly Blind Pig is the heading for both. So really, Facebook is where I keep up all the information, and
And for our listeners outside the tri-state area, we are going to dig deep into barbecue this hour. You're going to be sharing recipes. We're going to share cooking techniques, etc. But first, Tom has a huge event. It's coming up. Talk about that huge event for the local people.
Well, we have our event happening at Dawson Street Pub in Manayunk, and we try to do something every month. But now that we get into the winter months, we try to bring out the stuff for the winter season.
Nice.
So I do my version of a turducken, take it or leave it.
And
It
it's
is
delicious.
it's more of a ground meat kind of thing going on with duck confit in the middle, which you guys didn't get because I didn't get to that part yet. But you got turkin, I think is what I brought in.
And it's delicious.
But we'll do
I'll take
turducken and a bunch of other. Our barbecue lasagna is going to be coming back out,
Wow.
which people love, and it's really layers of the different barbecue meats, in a lasagna. I mean,
That's
who
beautiful.
would have thought,
Genius.
But people love it, and it's something that you recognize, and it's tasty.
And while we have the listeners around the country, talk about some of the recipes that you have on this incredible website. I saw corned beef.
The corned
There's all
beef
kinds
ribs.
of different.
And some of those recipes actually go back when I was running a blog back in 2009, 2010. And, I don't know what other people do to love food. Jim, you're a chef. I mean, you sit at home and write stuff down in a notebook. I have a notebook of just things that I think are going to work, but have never done them. And I sometimes make the mistake of doing them the first time at these events, which is really exciting. So
That's
I am
great.
sometimes tasting the food for the first time with whoever's coming out. But I have no problem with that. But the recipes, I love playing with food. I love taking an idea that people may already know about and trying to find another way to do it. Corned beef ribs doesn't sound too out of the way now. People are doing them. But in 2009, when I wrote that blog, I couldn't find anybody doing corned beef ribs. And I was taking the back ribs from the prime rib cut,
Right.
not the big, short rib cut.
Right.
I'm taking those back ribs and brining them and turning them into corned beef, and we were calling it, corned beef on a stick.
All right.
And then you start smoking them up, and it's, pseudo, pastrami, put
Is
some
there anything
pepper and
not
stuff.
better on a
But
stick?
everything's better on a
Everything's
stick.
better
But,
on a stick.
but things like that, and I tell people, play with your food, have fun.
Right.
One that went over really well that will be coming back in the cold seasons here, maybe at this event a few weeks from now at Dawson. I do a meatball burger that is stuffed with spaghetti, sauce, and cheese, and it's on a garlic knot roll that I found a purveyor that does an incredible soft garlic knot roll, and
Wow.
it's spaghetti and meatballs in your hand. I mean, it's not something that you've never seen or haven't grown up with, but it's different.
Isn't there somebody at this table that's been in a meatball competition?
Oh yeah, Jim Hassan.
Yeah.
Jim Hassan has been in the meatball competition.
That the one down in South Philly?
The one in the tap room at 19th, and it was the.
It was like a knife fight, wasn't it?
Were you at the controversial
I was
one?
not at the
Yeah.
controversial
Oh,
one.
gotcha.
By the time I got into it, they'd already kind of forgotten about it, and some nice woman from the neighborhood one. It
Right.
was kind of cool actually.
Well, let's talk to our
I remember the
local.
controversial one. I was sitting at Fonte's having coffee thinking, oh man, I'm glad I was no part of that.
Oh, I wish that's one that I wasn't at because I did a couple of them there, but that would have been fun.
Let's talk to our local listeners. Talk about the event at Dawson's. What time, what day, where can we get it?
Sure, the event's going to be November 23rd and 24th.
Nice.
Where we usually have Slowing the Boats, which is an incredible band that plays on Sunday. So we're going to be working with them again at Dawson Street Pub. We try to do a barbecue event every third weekend of the month.
That's
So really, to just put on your calendar, if you want to come out and try some barbecue at any time, pretty much guaranteed, if it's the third weekend of the month, I'm cooking over at Dawson Street Pub.
And my suggestion always is like you want to stretch your stomach out before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, we're gonna do some videos.
It's almost like doing workouts before an event, but like this is the perfect thing to go to before Thanksgiving.
Order
That's
those
absolutely.
pants a size larger from Amazon.
But talk about specific. What can we expect when we go to the event on the 23rd?
Well, they usually let me do a full takeover,
Nice.
so it's really my kitchen. Now Dawson Street Pub is known for some veggie dishes and vegan stuff, seitan wings. It happens.
Ew.
So we will have some of that still on the menu,
Cut the mic down.
but all the other things, all the burgers are off the menu, and it becomes pretty much what we decide that I'm going to do. And typically, we're always going to have the brisket and the ribs and chicken. But we're also going to have our cold weather kind of specials
Exactly.
that I really look forward to. I mean, this is a time that so many cultural foods that you only get to taste this time of year. This is the best time of year for food.
Absolutely.
And just memories and bring back memories. I make party pigs that you might see on my site. They're little 30-pound pigs that I debone and then I stuff them. Well, my idea was serve a lot of people without having them get a 100-pound pig and have to be outside. If you could put that on your table and still serve a bunch of people, I thought it was a great party idea.
It is. I've been to events like that. And somebody's outside with like a 90-pound hog. And that means the party is always sort of, I don't want to say separated, but you know what I mean. You've got people, the smart people like me are hanging around by the pig.
Right.
And then you've got all the people inside that are like, oh, this chips and dip is great. And I'm like, okay, I'm having crackling. Let me know what you're having.
I used to live in Newtown Square next to Luigi and Giovanni's, and every weekend they would do the suckling pig.
Yeah.
I lived close enough to smell it. I would literally like float there. I didn't touch the ground between my house and
It's like the cartoon with Bugs Bunny. He's following the carrot smell.
And I'll tell you right now, my first experience with a real pig, was at a ShopRite. They had a pig roast, and it was pretty interesting.
And it was a real pig?
Yeah, it was a real pig.
That's
All
what
right, that's
It wasn't like the pig equivalent of crab with a K, was it? Like muskrat that had been sprayed pink.
Right. A Philly Blind Pig Barbecue on all social media platforms. Let's get more into it. We have a couple minutes left in our segment. Talk more about Dawson's Pub, which is outstanding.
It's a great pub. I mean, I want people to come anyway, but third weekend of the month is best because I'm there. But has one of the best beer menus that you're going to have around. First bar in Philly to put yards on a hand pump.
Nice.
So there's some history there, and they to this day they still have ESA on the pump.
Nice.
But Dave's done a great job of bringing in a craft beer that you don't see at every bar you walk in.
I desperately wanted to say I hadn't heard from Yards, but I know like Tom had texted me immediately with the middle finger emoji and then like the being punched in the face emoji.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, Dawson's Pub is outstanding. I gave them a rave review when I went there and blogged about them. So it's a great time. Tom, Philly Blind Pig Barbecue is going to be there the 23rd of November and the 24th.
That's right.
And that he'll be taking over the kitchen. And this is great stuff.
One other thing I want to just throw out there real quick is when you go to Facebook, you can tag these things as events in your Facebook feed. So it's not like you're at work and then all of a sudden your phone beeps and you're like, oh, I should be at Dawson's eating dead pig.
Right.
What you should do is put it there so that a day ahead of time, oh, I got to totally lie to everyone I work with and tell them somebody died or something so I can get out of here and get into Dawson's and get food.
And you also get ads for everything else related to barbecue.
I know. That's not a bad thing.
And
it's not.
And the whole menu is great at Dawson's. I mean,
very much so.
From top to bottom, it's a great spot. You can see Philly Blind Pig Barbecue there, November 23rd and the 24th. Follow them on all social media platforms, Philly Blind Pig right?
That's right.
And-
PhillyBlindPig.com, and then that'll actually link you to all the other social media. But I don't blend. I'm easy to find. Look up Philly Blind Pig. I usually show up first.
And just want to let our listeners.
Tom's a hard guy to miss.
Yeah,
I want to let our listeners know outside the tri-state area that segments 2, 3, and 4 will cover barbecue in general. So if you're listening outside of the tri-state area, we're going to cover all phases of barbecue.
When we come back, I'm going to talk a little bit about how you order barbecue.
Exactly. We're going to talk all things barbecue today, including recipe and cooking techniques. For the rest of the show, then we'll plug the Dawson's appearance at the last segment. Right now, let's take a break.
If you, your family, or friends are planning a visit to Philadelphia, then go to www.phillyrestaurantreviews.com and take our audio food tour, where we show you where to find the real best in Philly restaurants without the tourist traps of other food tours. The average price of a Philly food tour is $40 per person. Our tour, only $5, and you can put it on up to 5 separate devices. This saves a family of 5 an average of $195.
Thank you, William. That's William, our announcer. He's been in radio 30
That's the
years.
greatest voice. I'm ready to do.
It really is.
I'm ready to do whatever you said. I got money. That was awesome. Wow.
Yeah, and William has been in radio for over 30 years.
I couldn't tell.
And I just want to let everyone know, dining on a dime at yahoo.com. If you have anything for William in radio or podcasting, you can contact dining on a dime at yahoo.com.
Now, you guys are cool and all, but I want him to come back in here and announce me. I want that voice to announce me onto the show. Yeah, well, or that. I mean, I was mesmerized.
He is
awesome.
He is the Luther Vandross of podcasts.
I got to tell you, I mean, that was awesome. I loved it.
So, Tom, let's talk a little bit about the food you brought today. How do you prepare? Where do you get your inspirations from?
Inspirations. That's scary. I don't know.
Sure.
I am not joking about having a notebook full of recipes that I think might work and things that might go together.
Nice.
Like candied pork rinds you are going to see really soon at Dawson Street Pub.
That's awesome.
But I don't know. It's usually what I like to eat.
Nice.
It's going to be fatty. It's going to be really bad for you. It's going to be tons of bacon and whatever else, butter, and that's what I do.
Right. And what I love about the Philly Blind Pig Barbecue is you really come up with some great ideas. I mean, there is some combos that I've seen on your website that I've never seen before. We have a lot of listeners that are trying to learn cooking. They're not professionals.
I feel like it's us fat men who really are pushing the envelope.
Absolutely.
Well, it is.
That's
the
right.
sacrifice I make carrying an additional 180 pounds.
Well, you don't know how many bad inventions I have to eat before
Sure.
I put them on there. As good.
That makes sense, though. Yeah, sure. John is going to have his segment now. John, you were going to talk about how to order.
Yeah,
barbecue.
I wanted to go out because, first of all, people have been telling me they've been having some trouble hearing the show live.
Oh, okay.
We're working on it. We're making sure that you guys, because
Yeah,
I've got
absolutely.
a few of our listeners that, they can't wait for this. I can't wait for me either. But, especially we have Tom on. Usually, whatever, it's just me and Jim being drunk and talking. But one of the things I wanted to talk about is how to order barbecue. Now, I'm not going to tell you what to order because you get whatever you like. I don't care. I mean, that I don't care. But barbecue is a little bit peculiar in the culinary world, where it's a little bit on demand and it's a little bit reservation. And I don't mean making a reservation to sit in a place. I've been to several places in and around Jersey, Philly, PA. We're the only ones that seem to think I can walk into a barbecue place 5 minutes before they close and every single thing on the menu will still be there. I've been to Austin, I've been to Tulsa, Oklahoma, I've been to California, I've been to Florida. Everybody seems to understand that barbecue is like a first come, first serve. And Tom will back this up. There's only so many racks you can do.
I would actually tell you, if you can walk into a barbecue joint and they have the full menu set and they're ready to close, I would question it.
Exactly.
And I would do my homework on that place. Now, I don't want to put places down that do that. And they're like, Tom, come on, we do. But it's not an easy thing to do, and that means you are going to be serving things the next day or, so, yeah, barbecue joints make stuff for the day.
Yeah,
It's fresh.
you
That's
know-
what makes it great.
I mean, I did an entire show about taking leftover barbecue and turning it into breakfast, and it's great. Don't
Oh
get
my
me
God,
wrong.
yeah.
I mean, you know, like you start throwing some brisket in an omelet or something, it's delicious.
Well, also certain things. I still swear that smoked ribs, barbecued ribs, the next day
Yeah.
taste even better. The smoke does something. It all blends together, and not every barbecue food's like that. But I have no problem with ribs the next day reheated.
Yeah. But I've got some people adding me on social media, different platforms or whatever, and I'm not going to name names because I don't think people mean it to be negative. But they're frustrated. They've gone to places that we've talked about on the show, friends of ours, 10, 15 minutes before closing, and they're out of brisket. They're out of ribs. And my response, like Tom just said, yeah, they should be. If you really want something that badly, barbecue's a little bit different. Look, if you want a McRib sandwich, you go right ahead. McDonald's has their factory pumping that thing out, plankton, Play-Doh, whatever the heck it is.
Whatever animal that is.
Whatever animal that is, it is not, they're just banging that thing out. I don't really consider it ribs. I don't really consider it barbecue. But if you like the sandwich, eat it. However, most barbecue places are not McDonald's. They're not some monstrous factory out in the middle of nowhere where they're putting out like a zillion chicken McNuggets an hour or whatever it is. These are people that are painstakingly selecting the cuts of meat, going over them, in some cases with like a magnifying glass, to find the perfect cut, perfect temperature, perfect time. Barbecue is way more sorcery than a lot of other culinary fields. You have to sort of use the force a little bit. And I know that's really hard and frustrating. And that's why some of you people that are out there cosplaying as barbecue pitmasters, please stop that. Halloween is over. I get it. I like to dress as an astronaut. I like to dress as Captain Kirk.
Some even come with the accent, and you know
Yeah.
they didn't even grow up in the South. It's like, wait a minute.
Come on now.
Watch a little too much Justin Wilson in it.
You know what? If I went to Brett Z's job and tried to sell insurance out of his mom's basement,
I'd buy it.
he'd be upset,
Oh.
right? No, Brett Z is our resident Yelp guy. If there is a Brett Z, we feel bad. Jim and I kick this guy around every week. Yelp Elite, whatever. That means he's got the nice room at his mom's house. Whatever. My point is this. When you order barbecue, first of all, know the place you're going to order it from. Famous Dave's is the exception, not the rule. There's not a ton of barbecue chain places for a reason. I know Arby's has got the meat, and if you want to go to Arby's for lunch, go ahead. But if you're going to real barbecue, you've got to understand a few things. First of all, you got to be open-minded and patient, right? You've got to understand that when the temperature drops 30 degrees in a night, the product is going to taste a little different than the last time you had it. That's not the fault of the pitmaster. That's nature. This is cooking outside. Also, most barbecue places I know run into this where they will tell you it's first come, first serve. When the ribs are done, they're done. When the brisket's done, they're done. So if a place is known for its brisket or known for whatever, well, call ahead, place an order, or get there early enough. Don't expect to show up whenever you want to. And when they don't have what you're looking for, go into Karen mode. We've talked about this before. Barbecue is about as far from Karening as you can get.
Yeah.
It's the exact diametrically opposed.
My goal in life is to be the guy that holds the sign up at Michael Strauss's Mike's Barbecue and that says sold out. Not only because I got the last order of ribs, but because I can look behind me and see the sadness in the people's eyes that didn't get the ribs.
True story. Tony Luke and I did a YouTube thing in Mike's, and there was a kid. Mike locked the door, and that's when we did the